Hey, live.
There we go. So how's it going, Zoya?
Great. How about you, Will?
Pretty good. So everyone, we have Zoya here from HubSpot today talking about CRM tools for small businesses. We're super excited to get into everything. So without further ado, let's kind of jump into things. So
Sure.
I wanted to, I want to ask you, how can CRMs help small businesses scale as they grow?
Definitely. Yeah. So should I start with just so people know who I am and say
Yes, of course.
about me? So hi, everybody. I'm a principal growth specialist at HubSpot. And basically what I do is I just talk to people to understand what's keeping them from growing, what's in your way. You're trying to reach a goal. You're trying to overcome some challenges. There's something that's in your way. It's not helping you really overcome that. So working with somebody like me allows us to really kind of dig into the strategy and understand what you've tried, what's working, what isn't, and what is that gap between where you are today and where you want to be and how we can help you fix it. And so more often than not, leading right into Will's question, more often than not, the best thing that companies can do, no matter what you're trying to do, really, is to have a good CRM system in place. So just by definition, let's even start there. What is a CRM? Right. So CRM, customer relationship management system. If you ask probably most people on the street today and you just kind of stop them and say, hey, what's a CRM? They're probably going to say, oh, it's something that my boss uses to keep an eye on me. Right. It is something that I need to log in activities at so that my boss knows that I'm doing my job. It's what I have to do so that I don't get fired. Right. But that's the wrong way to think about it. And that's sort of the old school way of thinking about CRMs. So what a CRM is actually is it allows you to truly understand your customers, right? Your relationship with them, to manage that relationship. So when it comes to why implement a CRM, it's going to help you with a variety of different ways. And Will, I don't know, do you want me to just kind of keep going?
Go ahead. Keep rolling.
Just keep rolling. Sorry, never been live before. I don't know how this really works. So come along for the ride.
No rules. Keep going.
No rules. Wrong bus over here. So why CRMs, right? What do they actually help you with? It's not meant to be an oversight tool. And the reason why so many people think that it's an oversight tool is because originally they kind of were. Back when CRMs were first launched, it was, hey, we're going to convince you to move your operations to the cloud. And then to move those operations to the cloud, you have to convince the CEO, the CTO, the CFO, CIO, whoever's of why that's going to be safe for their businesses. So moving from paper to digital was very scary at first. And so the original CRM solved for maybe security, some reporting, solved for what the CEOs wanted, didn't solve for what the day-to-day users actually needed in order to get a tool that they want to use. So now that CRMs have kind of evolved, what they actually help you with is in a lot of different ways, right? So let's just talk about your customers, right? So when you have more than one thing that you're selling more than just a widget, right? If you're selling more than just a widget, you have to understand how your customers, what they know about you, what they think about you, how they're engaging with you, right? What they want to get from you and what they already have. So all those different things are very hard to really summarize if you don't have a single source of truth. So even just right there, right? Your CRM is your single centralized source of truth that allows all of your teams within the organization to understand those customers, to understand what they have, to understand what they may need and what they can benefit from. What does that result in? Better customer service, right? So if I'm calling into your business and you can see my phone number, you can look me up by my email address, you can look me up by my name, whatever it is, you should see everything. It's like, oh yeah, you've been to our website recently, you've looked at this email, you opened this promotion. Oh, you must be calling about your product or service that you already have, right? I shouldn't have to repeat myself a million times over to try and get to my goal. So that better customer service is going to be one of the main things that comes out of having a CRM. As part of that better customer service, right, you keep your customers happier. You're also going to be getting better retention. So in understanding where your customers are, how they're engaging with you, what they have, you can also have better follow-ups, better cross-sell, upsell opportunities, right? Leading into higher sales, that you're not only keeping your customers attached to you longer, but you're also helping them to expand more within your organization where you can help them in other areas. All right, so those are some of the top 2 ways you can really help with CRM specifically. On the sales side, right, really helps with better close rates. So having, again, centralized source of truth as a salesperson, I love to see when I'm coming in, like, okay, great, Mr. or Mrs. Prospect, where did you come from? What am I
Yeah, we
talking
definitely both love
about?
that.
A bunch of products and services that we offer. So I'm not just going to say, oh, you want some HubSpot? Like, let's talk about that. So it's usually more specific. Oh, you were looking at our marketing tools. What's your marketing strategy, right? So honing in so that we're really helping them understand in less time also, right? A lot of those notifications that happen immediately, but we're also helping them understand where they're at and where else we can take them. All this comes, of course, with better data, better reporting. That's one of the main other things that really comes out of it. And for the marketers and the CEOs, right, they want to have tools that they can report on, but to have the reporting, they need to have usable tools that the day-to-day boots on the ground people are actually utilizing so that the people at the top get the reports and don't have to, bend over backwards to get that data. So that also helps a lot, especially if the tool like HubSpot is very easy to use and actually helps people on the day-to-day, right? So anything that we can help with efficiency, productivity, automation, right? Handing off those hot leads in under a minute when they're converting, helping reps to automate their follow-ups. So they're not spending time just throwing spaghetti at a wall to seeing who might be interested, right? So all those different components, and there's so many more, but at the end of the day, it really helps you to understand where you should be spending your time, where you should be spending your money. And it takes the guesswork out of that because it'll tell you, no, this is, the journey of your customer. Here's everything that they touched along the way, right before they purchased, all the content. And at the end of the day, you'll get reporting that shows you, hey, all your best leads came from these sources. There's no more maybe about, where should I put my new marketing budget? Should I go here? Should I go there? I don't know. Now, this will give you the direct reporting you need to make those smart decisions. So you're not just guessing. Sorry,
Awesome.
I'll get off my little.
Hey, no problem. We love it. Yeah. So you're talking about, we're talking about small businesses here. So I wanted to ask you, right, with the small.
Sorry.
Oh,
when on my Bluetooth, I shouldn't have my Bluetooth on. We're good. Are we good?
There we go. Can you hear me?
Yes. Could you hear all of that? Was I?
No, I could hear all of that. Don't worry about it. We're keep rolling here. Yeah, like I was saying, with small businesses comes a small budget. So small businesses are spreading the small budget around. How does a small business owner, say, justify, paying a price for HubSpot?
It's a great question. So first of all, anybody that doesn't have a CRM, the first thing you're doing is you're leaving your money on the table for anybody else to pick up, right? That's one of the biggest risks of not having a CRM. The fact of the matter is, like HubSpot, our CRM tool is free. There's no excuse for you to not have a CRM. So the question is, how much value, how much revenue do you want to extract from that CRM, right? Do you want to automate your follow-ups, right? Do you want to, how efficiently, how good reporting do you need to do, right? How much customization, personalization do you need to do? That's where the money comes in. Storing your data and understanding who are your customers? When's the last time you talked to them? Are they coming to your website? A lot of that stuff is free. So there's really no excuse not to have one. I work with a lot of companies that have an Excel file as their CRM. I know, right? Even I don't know how you sleep at night if employees upset. I mean, that's not protected. There's no audit trail. That would make me panic. It's better than nothing, but it would make me panic. So yeah, I mean, when it comes to the ROI of CRMs, you're going to make your money back many, many times over just in having that visibility, right? Especially when there's more competition out there, and every day there's more competition. Doesn't matter what industry you're in. Every day there's somebody new that's coming out of the woodwork and saying, hey, I have this new idea. I'm going to do this a little bit differently. I might do this a little bit better, a little bit faster, a little bit cheaper than you, right? So all those people that are coming out that you may not be aware of, your customers are probably aware of them, or they're going to be going after your customers. So if you're not there already top of mind consistently in front of your customers, and not just when you want money from them, right? Not just, hey, you're up for renewal and that's the only time you're ever going to hear from us is when you're up for renewal and we want more money from you this time, right? So it really is over the course of their relationship with you, all those little helpful things you can send, right? Here's a resource that we put together that's going to help you. Here's a blog that we wrote. Here's a webinar we're doing, right? All those ways that you can really bring them in so that it's going to make them so much harder to leave you when you're their best friend. You're one of the reasons that their business is performing as well as it is, right? So that ROI of the CRM comes back in many different forms, both in helping you to get a better ROI in your marketing, right? If you know exactly where you need to put your budget and you know exactly what your content is converting, it's going to give you a lot of insight there, right? It's going to give you better ROI on all of your customers so that you're not spending money and just throwing it away all the time, going after new customers when, hey, can any of you say that 100% of your customers are using 100% of your products and services? HubSpot can't even say that. And we're a big company. We can't even say that every single one of our customers is using every single one of our products. So there's always room to grow. And the best way to grow your existing gold mine is to go looking for gold where you already have it. CRM.
Yeah, that was a great answer. You talked about competition, right? How does HubSpot kind of stay on top, right? There's all these other CRM platforms, and you mentioned, right, having a free version, but how does HubSpot like differentiate themselves from like what Salesforce, all these other platforms that are popping up?
So Salesforce is probably the one that it's not really popping up, right? It's been there a while. But Salesforce is one of the issues why so many people have PTSD of CRMs. This was my oversight tool. This was the chain around my ankle in my previous sales roles, right? So some of those old legacy CRMs, they were built for the wrong people. So they're still clunky. They're still hard to use. It takes a long time to figure out what you need to do, where and how, right? So that's kind of the challenge on this one end of the legacy systems. On the whole other end, you have all these new CRMs that are popping up. Like one that I saw not too long ago was literally called Less Annoying CRM. So a new one every day somebody's mentioning that is, oh, there's this new CRM system and they just launched and they're $5 a month and they're 2 cents a month. They're not developing as much, right? So these are brand new tools, which may be cheap, may be easy, but do they have as much of what you really need? Are they going to be able to scale with you, right? I'm not always going to be the first one to try out the brand new thing that's just out. I'm going to let somebody else kind of try it. And then I'm going to see like, okay, are we good? Okay, now I'm going to try this. HubSpot's been around for 15 years. So we're in that perfect sweet spot now in the middle of where we've been around for a long time. We've had the time to grow up, to really, build out our platform, to listen to our customers and to solve for those needs. So we actually started as a tool for small businesses when HubSpot was also a small business, when we were also a startup. And then it's been 15 years and we grew up and our CRM scaled along with us. So it was actually 3.5-ish years ago now that, like when I started 3.5-ish years ago, we were still on Salesforce. And then after 4 months or 3 months-ish, we actually moved over to HubSpot. So HubSpot grew up alongside HubSpot, scaled with us, and we're still scaling with it. We got several thousand employees and multiple offices around the world, and we're using our own platform now. So because we have the freemium model where anybody can use it, right? If you have your 5 customers and you want to keep track of your 5 customers, use the free tools. If you have 5 to 10 employees and you want to just get an extra customer, make an extra couple $100,000, right? You can use some form of the platform. And for enterprise companies that are just tired of using the Salesforces of the world that are so clunky, so hard to use, right? That's part of my job is therapy, really. Tell me who hurt you. We'll make it better. Right? And
the support.
Yeah, exactly. The most common offenders are Salesforce. I hear a lot from Zoho also. Dynamics is a tough one. So all those that I hear, like those PTSD stories from, where we can say, hey, you can have all that great power. You don't have to sacrifice any of the reporting, the analytics, the data, the automation, but it's going to be more fun to use. It's going to be easier to use. You'll get it up and running in a fraction of the time without needing to spend $100,000 in just the development work to get it to where you need to be to customize it, right? So all those little components that whether you're a small, medium, or enterprise size business, there's going to be some combination of solutions at some tier that we offer that's going to help you to do things a little bit better.
Yeah, that's great. And you mentioned, right, having a free version is just so helpful, especially when you're a small business. You don't know if you want to apply that small budget that you have to getting on a new platform on top of the work it takes to transfer over. And something I've found when I've been using HubSpot is it connects with so many different things, right? If somebody schedules a meeting with me, then it's already on my calendar. It's not like I have to like go and add it myself. But I wanted to get into, going off that, what other platforms or services does HubSpot connect with?
So many. We have over 500 or 600 integration partners at this point. So do we have 2 days for me to list it all? Good rule of thumb is, if you're curious, does HubSpot integrate with this particular tool that we use? Because we're not naive. We know that there's always going to be specific point solutions you're going to need. Zoom being a great example, right? Gmail, GeoMapper, right? Certain things that are going to help you with if you're going door to door, you're visiting on site, if you need time tracking or accounting, right? QuickBooks, like there's so many other things that are going to be specific point solutions that we don't have everything for. We're just going to have a great centralized place that everything can kind of plug into. And so if you're curious about anything, just Google blank and HubSpot integration. You'll find either a third-party integrator like Zapier or one of those ones if we don't have a native one. More often than not, you're going to find a native integration built and managed by HubSpot or by one of our partners or through our new data sync PySync kind of home base. So there's a lot of different ways that we're going to help you to bring in those other tools into your core HubSpot usage. And actually, just as of like yesterday or a week ago, speaking of Zoom, brand new update that's very exciting. If any of you are familiar with Gong, similar idea, we actually also use Gong, similar idea where you have like conversation intelligence. So now with the Zoom integration, it actually has the conversation intelligence functionality. So you book a meeting, the Zoom link is added right away, you have the meeting, and now that is all recorded to the CRM record where now your manager can coach you around it, right?
Perfect.
When we launched conversation intelligence 3 months ago, that wasn't a thing yet. Now we have this awesome Zoom capability, right? So that also kind of goes back not just to how great our app network is, because people love building on HubSpot. Developers love building into HubSpot. We have open APIs. So even if you have your own weird thing that you built that only you have and only you know how it works, but if you have developers, or if you need developers, we have developers. But if you need developers, if you have that open API, we have an open API. So we can connect with whatever weird situation you have going on to also automate that, to also make all that better and more efficient. So we try to be as much of a one size fits all without pretending like we're going to also slice your bread. Like we understand our limitations and we're very focused on like where we're great and then opening it up to our partners in our app integration networks and all that good stuff to help us supplement some of those other channels where we can strengthen those integrations over time as well.
Yeah, that's awesome. I was thinking like these people that have, we see it all the time, that have an Excel data sheet and you look at it and you're like, oh my God, this is so messy. And you're thinking, how does a small business that already is short on manpower or woman power to take their data and bring it over to HubSpot, right? That's a big job. And in your experience, how do companies usually bring that data over?
So the two kind of main ways that people bring that data over. First one, just export and import, right? If you have, even if it's an Excel document or you have any database that you're in, most of them you can just do an Excel export, right? And just say, hey, I want to extract all my data. So that's the most common probably way of, I'm just going to export everything, clean up the data, make sure it's good, and then import it right into HubSpot. So that's the first one. The second one is just via integration. So that's another easy one. I was just talking to somebody yesterday. They just connected their Gmail, and then now all their Gmail contacts are in HubSpot. We have AI that makes that a lot easier as well. Will actually help to supplement some of your records with the data we're pulling out of their signatures. With the new data sync by HubSpot as part of our operations hub. So as part of that, you can actually connect. Last I checked, it was 42 apps. Every week there's more additions because it's still a relatively new launch. So we started with like 30, now we're 42. So there's always one or two coming out. But with that one, like even if you're using another CRM, like I think Zoho's in there, Keep or Infusionsoft or whichever one it is now, I think it's Keep now. There's a few other ones in the Pipedrive, I think, that like if you have this other CRM, or even if you're migrating off of this CRM, you can start with a data sync, get all of your data in HubSpot, even with Salesforce, actually. Salesforce is another great example of where we have a lot of our customers, as much as I, will give Salesforce all the shit in the world, they have a lot of great things that they do. And we have a lot of our customers that love using Salesforce and HubSpot together. We have an awesome integration with Salesforce. We're probably one of the better integrated tools with Salesforce, probably more than Pardot or any of their own. So we have that great integration where a lot of people start with maybe Salesforce as their CRM, and then they have HubSpot as their marketing arm. They integrate everything, they port all the data over. And then in time, they're like, wait a minute, we can do all this in HubSpot. We're just going to walk away from Salesforce. They turn off the sync, all the data is already there. It's going to be the same with any of those other apps that you integrate with. Once the data sync starts, the data comes over into HubSpot. If you ever want to walk away from those apps, you turn off the sync and then you're already in HubSpot. So it's as easy as we can possibly make it for you. We're a work smarter, not harder type of organization.
Exactly. And also, as a HubSpot partners here at Nifty Method and Marketing Orchard, we can also help you bring that data over, integrate onto HubSpot. And that goes on to my next question. What does it mean to be a HubSpot partner?
Yes, and thank you, because the more complex, we were talking about, but the more complex needs definitely bring a partner in. Like that's going to be the best thing for partners to help with, as well as like a vast majority, I think, of our customers, and more now are working with partners. So partners like Nifty and Marketing Orchard are a great example of the ones that are like, yeah, you can have a beautiful looking car, right? It can be, I don't know if Tesla has manual transmissions. I'm sure they probably do. They're too smart. Let's say Ferrari. You have a beautiful Ferrari. Beautiful Ferrari. It's shiny. It's got all the fancy things, but it's stick shift. And so you can learn how to drive stick, right? You can take the lessons. You can Google it. Your boyfriend, your girlfriend, whoever can teach you. I tried. I didn't do very well at stick shift. I tried, and I've given up. So with things like that, like you can learn it. Does it mean that you have the time to do it? Does it mean that you want to do it? Do you want your whole job to be managing your inbound campaigns, right? Because HubSpot's a great tool, but you need the kind of the strategy behind it to implement the tools in the right way, to create your content in a way that's going to convert your customers to help you generate leads, right? All those things are where partners can really help support you. Whether or not you have already an in-house marketing team and you want somebody like Nifty to help you with just onboarding, getting you up the ground, right? Training your team on how to do it, helping you build out a marketing strategy, whatever it is, right? You can work with them. Or if you don't have a marketing team at all, if you have one person, and that's just, it's a lot for one person to do. If you need to manage all the email campaigns, social posts, all the blogs, the content, right? Just because you can doesn't always mean you should. You can use a partner. It's oftentimes going to be less than hiring an employee full time, because for whatever fees the agency is going to cost, you're not paying their health insurance. You're not paying their overhead, right? So there's a lot of those little factors that at the end of the day can really be a huge benefit for scaling organizations to lean on partners that can help you scale up faster, do it better, have the better kind of foresight of what that scalability is going to look like in understanding what your strategy today is, where you're working towards, and even outside of just, you meet with me or somebody else at HubSpot, we're going to get kind of an idea over the first few conversations. Having a partner, they're working with you over a few months or a few years, they're going to get a lot more insight. They're going to be able to give a lot better advice and a lot more strategic insight into your performance and where you should be and what sort of the industry standards, right? So all those different ways to really just help you optimize your RevOps in general, to help you get the best ROI that you can. So HubSpot is an easy enough tool where you don't need a partner, but should you use one? 100%. Yeah. Even for onboarding, like I always say, like anybody that I'm talking to, onboarding is required no matter what, right? You can either onboard with HubSpot and you're going to get a few meetings and somebody's going to teach you to onboard yourself. It'll be homework. It's going to be very hands-off, but it's going to be support, right? We're going to teach you. If you have 10 people on your marketing team and everybody has a role, that could be a good fit. However, if you don't have a massive, and even sometimes I do work with, large in-house marketing teams that just want to have another strategic team to work with, somebody else to bounce ideas off of, somebody to get them up and running faster, trained better, right? So that's something that our in-house onboarding can't really provide. We can't do onboarding in less time, in faster, we're not going to be hands-on. The partners are going to be hands-on. They'll help you do that. Nifty will come in and set up your property, connect your website, do all that for you so that all that is done, it's done correctly. And now what's the next phase? Where can we focus our energy now? So many.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and that's something we preach here, like time and time again, right? Especially for small businesses, you're, again, spreading those dollars. And do you want to take the time to make the larger investment to hire a whole team? Or do you want someone who knows the product, knows the platform, knows how to get it done, and knows what you need? And, as you grow, we grow with you and help you, expand in the same HubSpot platform.
Much faster time to value.
Exactly. Yeah, so that's all we had for today. But I wanted to thank everyone for coming and watching us. Again, if you are interested in a CRM tool, the lovely Zoya is the expert on that, and so are we. And we would love to help you come on to HubSpot CRM needs. Thank you again for tuning in, and stay tuned to the Nifty channels for future updates.
Thanks, everyone. Remember, no excuses. It's free. Okay, bye.
Exactly. It's free. Thank you.